The power of your words. And why is the power of your words so important, and why should you care about it? Yeah, putting it bluntly, why should you care about it? It's because through the power of our words, we are literally impacting the life of many people. Because you see, our words can empower, but can also disempower people, can completely build someone up and help them get through something that they might be facing, a storm perhaps, a challenge, who knows, right? And then we could completely push them over the top, right? And completely change their life for both good and not so good. For good, especially when you are empowering them and you are lending them a shoulder there for them to be with you, right? And just to want you to know that this topic of the power of your words takes me a whole hour and a half to teach. And that's just a summary version of when I dig deeper into that particular topic, or when you really want to think about a topic, you can literally break that topic and make it into smaller segments and push it down to, I don't know, 6 months, 6 weeks, whatever you want, right? That's the beauty of it. The beauty of the lessons that we learn is that they can adapt. So tonight I'm not going to give you a whole hour and a half worth of value, but rather I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes maybe. So I'm going to push it maybe 20 at the most, but we have already been here for almost 5.5 minutes. So I am very mindful of people's time, and I'm also extremely mindful of my time. Because as much as I love standing in front of the camera, sharing a word of empowerment and sharing some of my lessons and whatnot, there's got to be a boundary. There's got to be a balance where I cannot just be standing here for 2-3 hours teaching you what I normally charge other people to attend my sessions for. So instead, I give you little snippets, and I have been giving you little snippets, which I'm super grateful for your participation, and I'm super grateful for your encouragement, and because you are right here, right now, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you again. Liz, hola mi amor, hola mamacita. I hope Mr. Jan can join us definitely. I know it's probably sometime tomorrow morning for him as they're watching us from the Philippines. So hello to all our beautiful familia in the Philippines as well, right? As in Mexico, Canada, and everywhere else, the States. We love you guys. We love you all across, and wishing you all the best, absolute best. Okay, but so the power of our words. I'm gonna go straight into the point here, into the teaching. Okay, so the teaching about this, I'm gonna help you create some awareness. I'm gonna challenge the status quo of some of the conversations that are going on right now through your life, that you are participating or that you are involved at. And here is what I like you to visualize and to pay attention. I like you to be aware and mindful of those conversations that are happening. But I'm going to help you simplify it to helping you select 3 different conversations that you got going on right now. Could be one with your spouse or your kids or a family member. Another one could be, somebody at work or somebody at school or somebody, in your social communities, circles, whatever the case may be. But the intention is 3 conversations with friends, like I said, family, what are 3 conversations that are happening right now in your life. And you don't have to put that in the comments. Those private conversations, that's just for you to think about it, And now that you have thought about those 3 conversations, okay, I want you to identify if those conversations have been limiting. There is some sort of limiting energy, whether it's a limited belief, whether it's a limited lingo, limited frequency, however, whatever you want to call it, right? But is there a limitation, or also is there lack? Is there lack? It could be professional lack, professional growth, ambition, development, and it can be if it's a school, if there's not motivation to continue moving, with the program that you're at. See, there are many different options, and everybody has a different story, and everybody has a different situation. Okay, so now that you have identified that, okay, reshift the way you express yourself. Be aware of the words that you're saying. Be aware of the words that you are speaking. Are those words of encouragement? Are those words empowering? Are those words disempowering? Or are we talking about negative lingo? Do we notice some sort of resentment, bitterness, perhaps? Challenges happening? We have the opportunity to rewire our brain and recondition our mind, just so we start speaking the proper lingo. The lingo of empowerment, the lingo of encouragement, of hope. Let me share something with you super quick here. See, I usually have multiple stories about different lessons that I learned to reinforce my entire program. But I'm only going to share with you one out of the different ones that I present through the hour. Okay, I'm going to present one. And this story, I was intentionally conditioning myself to fail. I was intentionally conditioning myself to fail. Yes, you didn't hear wrong. Okay, you didn't hear wrong. That's exactly what I was saying. I was doing it on purpose. I was failing on purpose. And when you try not to fail at things, we fail and we come across obstacles and stumbling blocks and whatnot, right? But when you're not even trying at failing because you are intentionally failing, my gosh, it becomes so much easier. It becomes so much easier to don't care than trying to keep things ongoing. So that's exactly what happened to me when I was in middle school. Okay, so grade 8, at the end of the year, I had a couple subjects that I had to go to summer school so I can reinforce my grades. So going into grade 9, I would come in with better grades that I had at the time, right? So sure enough, I walked in first day of summer school, and there's this badass kid, with such a good looking hair, not as good looking as these, but but there's this dude, and everybody's like celebrating him. Everybody is like high-fiving him. Everybody's like, oh my God, that's so cool. So I was wondering what was going on, right? So I approached the conversation. I was like, okay, what's going on here? And they say, well, I failed, 5 subjects. He's the one that had the most subjects that he failed at during that school year, 5 subjects or so. And you see, here's where I started to program myself to intentionally fail by the power of my words. Watch this, watch this. Because I noticed how everybody was celebrating this dude. I said, oh, you guys think he's a badass? Watch me. I'm going to fail every single subject the next year. And everybody laughed, everybody doubted, and come on, you can't fail them all. I said, you watch me, I will fail them all. Well, guess what happened, right? Okay, already know what happened. You know that by the time the end of grade 9 came around the corner, I did not fail them all. I failed 6 out of 7 subjects, because the 7th subject, it was gym, and I was actively participating during the basketball team, and so he couldn't fail me even if he wanted to. But I was intentionally failing on purpose, right? Just so I could be the badass at school, the guy who failed them all. And sure enough, I was celebrated still because I failed 6 out of 7. It was a record that I'm not proud of that record, but it is a record that probably, I don't know if other people have broken my record of failing at as many subjects. I'm sure there are other people, but see, my friends, that was not the only time I failed grade 9. I had to jump to a second school to redo grade 9 because the current school that I was at, they kicked me out. They say, no, this kid just simply doesn't care at all. And sure enough, that was my attitude. I had an attitude that I didn't care about anything because I was programming myself every day on purpose to fail. Every day when I would wake up, I'd be like, I'm gonna go fail this subject today. I have, I don't know, biology, English, Spanish, whatever, and I'd be like, yeah, whatever. And I would go over and I didn't care. Hey, your homework. I don't know. I just had a terrible, terrible attitude because I was determined to fail. And when you're at that point, man, it's like you're trying to prove something. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I went to the second school. They kicked me out again after a couple months. And then another school accepted me, like the third school. That's why third time is the charm, right? That I had to go to the third school to finish grade 9 and be able to get my middle school diploma. But you see, my friends, what I'm saying to you here is the power of the words carry so much weight because they're coming from inside out, and you're feeling them. They're attached to your emotions, to your energy, and then you speak them. And then once you have spoken them, you are listening to yourself, and then you adopt that attitude. You adopt the attitude of disempowerment, perhaps. You adopt the attitude of pittiness or self-doubt or whatever the case might be that we adopt so many times. So in order for me to go around, I had to identify, number one, identify what was going on around my environment. And earlier this video, when I say I like you to identify 3 conversations that are happening around. And then I ask you, are any of those conversations negative, toxic, with limited beliefs, so on and so forth? And then the next part is, well, you can take a proactive approach. You have identified, you know what the conversations, where the conversations are at, and now you're taking a proactive approach. You might ask, what is that proactive approach, Mr. DJ? Choosing the words that are coming through your mouth to begin with. Choosing what you're saying. Choosing the deliverance of your message. Choosing how you're going to overreact to something. We were talking about that yesterday. How you hold control, self-control, right? We're talking about that. You have a choice to control how you're going to react through things. But it's a whole body, mind, soul, spirit change. It's not just the one thing and that's it. That's why when I teach my programs about living an extraordinary life, we cover so many different topics, like so many different topics that we have to go through. And as we go through those topics, you know what happens? We have the tools available that we need to make those changes. So I just give you right now a handful of tools right here. A handful of tools where you're going to identify, number one, those conversations. Number two, well, not only the conversations, like listening to what's happening within those conversations as number two, right? Keep track of it, basically. Keep a mental note, per se, like a sticky note, if you have to, right? and last, choose what you're saying. Choose how you're going to participate. I'm not saying walk away from that conversation for all, just walked away. But I mean, there's been times where I had to do that. There's been times where I say, you know what, I don't want to be part of that energy. I don't want to be part of this conversation. I don't want to be part of whatever, because I am very mindful of what goes into my mind, what goes into my heart. And with the power of my words, I can certainly as well be mindful of what I'm saying to other people. My friends, there is so much, like I said, there is so much that I talk about. This is my program about the power of your words, about an hour and a half, and that's the condensed version. But there is so much more that we have. And so here's I'm gonna, in closing, I want to share some of the most, the biggest takeaways for tonight, okay? Our words can create a reality that we may not even like at the moment. We could be putting ourselves in a reality that we don't desire just by the way we speak and we express ourselves about ourselves. By following that three-step strategy, by following that three-step strategy that I share with you, you are able to shift your daily patterns, because now you're not just being part of a negative conversation. You are being selective, you're being mindful of what you're saying, right? And we are able, and we must remember, I should say, we must remember that our words should be words of empowerment, words of hope, and words of inspiration. Instead of having words full of bitterness, negativity, resentment, or others, as our words can be completely constructing somebody else's world around our life. Just let's keep that in mind, my friends. Focus in what you want. Focus in that inner peace that you might be looking for, the improvement that you might be looking for, the internal balance, whatever the case may be. It starts with us. That's just how it goes. It always starts with us. My friends, have an amazing rest of your evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And if you were interested more about the programs that I talked about, just send me a message. Send me a message. Send me a direct message. Say, hey, what you got going on? Tell me more about your program. That's it. No, nothing else, nothing less. Just go to my website if you want to, or send me a direct message right here. And that's all you really have to do, my friends. All right. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for being here.